G'day, battlers! So this is a little video to go through the Silph Season 5 changes and what amazing new things are coming through from the Silph Arena. So my name's Adelli0n.
And I'm PvP Steve, and today we're going to be kicking this off by talking about the changes to the ranking system in the Silph Arena as we head into Season 5. Now, traditionally, the arena's operated on a monthly cycle where you have a number of ranked battles that contribute to your rank with varying levels of weight per tournament. As we go into this new season in Season 5, rather than having a certain number of ranked tournaments, you'll instead have a number of ranked rounds that you can use to contribute to your rank. By moving to this round-based system, it means that you can compete in a 4-round tournament and a 3-round tournament, and that will have the same weighting impact as a 7-round tournament. So it sort of allows you to get in on some of those smaller tournaments. Now, Adelli0n, as a tournament host, how are you sort of feeling about this change to a round-based system rather than a tournament-based system? What's this going to do for you?
When I first read this, I read this in the Silph Arena article. I took it really, really well. I really liked this. It's an idea that was mentioned in some of the arena's focus groups where they reached out to some community leaders across the globe. I believe there were at least 2 or 3 that were set up. But what I think will be good is now we were often pressured as competitive Silph battlers to go after the largest round tournaments because we had a limit of how many tournaments we could do in a particular month. But now with a round limit instead, it's a lot easier to decide, okay, I'm going to commit to this small tournament and do these couple of rounds, and then this large tournament, and then another small tournament or whatnot. So there is really no sort of favoritism based on the size of a tournament. Instead, you can favor which tournaments you go to based on whether you prefer a slow remote style tournament, if you like to have multiple days to do a round, a live remote tournament if you want to get them all done quickly from the comfort of your home, or an in-person tournament where you're looking to meet up with people and see the whites of their eyes as you hopefully beat them.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, exactly. So no, in the short, I really like it. I think it will give people and give battlers more choice, and I think that is the key thing. That's the key thing that the arena is trying to do. Try and give people more choice as to what they like to do, how do they like to compete, their preferred style,
Yeah.
etc. So yeah,
But of course,
that's
the,
me.
the question becomes, if we've got this ranked round system, how many rounds are we going to get, Adelli0n?
So the ranked rounds, so we are going to be given 40 ranked rounds, but the beauty of this, and this ties in quite nicely to the next new announcement from the Silph Arena, is the arena is now going to be doing, rather than monthly segments to the season, we're going to have 2 monthly waves, and you're going to get you're going to get access to 40 ranked rounds per wave. So to summarize, that's 40 ranked rounds across a 2-month period. What that really works out to, therefore, is obviously 20 rounds in the first month, 20 rounds in the second month, or you can mix and match. And if you have a particularly busy month 1 and you only end up doing 5 rounds or none at all, for example, you could do 40 ranked rounds in month 2 and still have full access to maximum opportunity to gain rank. So it gives people a lot more flexibility in their lives, flexibility to fit their PvP around their lives as well. You can also use it to pick a different meta as well if the metas are different between month 1 and month 2, because I believe the arena has said that they are going to be keeping monthly rotating metas as per older seasons. So yeah, I think having access to waves will be really good as well, that additional flexibility, and then coupled with the ranked rounds and the lower sort of requirements to be competitive is going to be a real boon for competitors in the Silph Arena.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's really going to, like, there's all of these changes with the waves into the ranked rounds. It's going to reduce the ceiling, reduce the maximum number of battles, and really just help battlers to stay competitive with fewer ranked battles while they're still able to participate in, like, play Pokemon tournaments that are going on all over the world as well. So it really just helps to sort of bridge that gap. And keep everyone having fun, competitive, while also being able to battle when is most convenient for them. So if they've got that really busy January, they'll still be able to use their ranked battles in February and stay just as competitive as the previous system from month to month. But as you mentioned, it is going to be one brand new meta every single month still. So there's going to be two metas that you can sort of look at, and if there's one that you're practicing, and you just aren't performing very well at all, but you're really good at this second meta, then you may decide that you want to sort of focus your ranked battles on that second month. So it sort of gives you more flexibility in that regard as well. But with that said, this season, another announcement that was made this season is that there are also going to be more crossover with Silph factions. So there may be some metas that you've seen in Silph factions that come to the Silph Arena, and there may be Silph Arena metas that go to Silph factions. But with this crossover, is sort of going to mean that there's less metas that you have to learn. So you can sort of focus on this one meta that you're doing really well in Silph factions, and then apply that to the Silph Arena, or use Silph Arena as you sort of practice for factions as well. But in addition to this sort of monthly cycle where we see some factions metas, some non-faction metas, some unique Silph Arena monthly metas as well, there will also be the classic Open Great League that is always going to be ranked, which can give you some practice for play Pokemon. And there are also going to be some select Go Battle League metas that are available during their windows in-game. At the start of every wave, there is going to be sort of a calendar announcement that gives you the details about when each meta is going to be available and ranked in the Silph Arena, and which metas are going to be available and ranked. But I mean, how does that sort of, obviously it gives us a little bit more flexibility, Adellion, as far as what we can sort of play. So how does that sort of, how do you think this is going to work when it comes out to the community starting in January?
So I feel the factions, Silph factions when it came out, it's been very, very popular, and I think some of the biggest battling names in globally take part in factions. There are many of them that take part in factions almost exclusively, and as opposed to the individual Silph circuit. So for me, I think it's quite nice to have that overlap, because then it becomes less of an issue, because less of an issue for people who have up until now focused on Silph over the pandemic period. Focused on Silph factions over the pandemic period. They go, you know what? I already have the Pokemon for my Vanguard battlefield or my Ember battlefield or whatnot, and I could potentially use the same team and go to this my local individual tournament just down the road, or maybe half an hour's drive away, or a quick train ride, and do the exact same thing, but face to face with people, and be competitive in another circuit as well. So it's nice to lower that barrier to entry into both Silph individual and Silph faction by putting them together on some occasions.
Yeah, no,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see. But of course, there are more announcements, Adellion. So what else is coming up in the Silph Arena?
So one thing that I hold very close to my heart is the announcement about the return of battle towers. So for those of you who are perhaps new and may have not come across battle towers prior to the pandemic, these are pretty awesome sort of large scale in-person tournaments. So I'm super excited, and of course it's a great way to meet a huge number of battlers under one roof. So I'm super excited to hear they're coming back. I never actually attended the battle tower when they were just starting up prior to the pandemic, so I'm quite keen to see their return. I believe, Steve, there are more details to come in due course. Is that right?
Yeah, no, that's right. They will come eventually. We'll have to just wait and see how these are going to be run, when they're going to be, and where they're going to be. And like you, I'm quite excited because I didn't get the opportunity to jump in, as this did. I mean, Battle Towers really just did start up right before the pandemic began. So we really just didn't get the chance to properly enjoy them as much as we may be able to otherwise. But of course, there hopefully we'll see some sort of spread right around the world, so that there may be a Battle Tower near you that you may be able to participate in. And of course, that London's London, maybe Battle Tower London, maybe Silph. Hey,
I'm gonna pray to my statue of PvP Steve somewhere in my house for this one day.
We'll wait and see how it goes.
Get some incense offerings and all of that put under your name. There we go. Anyway.
we'll see if it works or not. But of course, with the battle towers coming back, there is one more change. Graphic change that is going to be coming as a result of this, and that is going to be the removal of the in-person 128 competitor limit. Now, the 128 competitor limit was introduced in the pandemic when we sort of moved to large remote tournaments, when Niantic removed the battle requirement from 30 days of friendship down to 1 day, or now 0 days of friendship. So tournaments could get a little bit too intense for the Silph Arena servers to handle. So now there is that 7-round limit, 128 competitors on online tournaments, but that is being completely removed for the in-person tournament. So if you happen to have a just really vibrant community, a huge community that wants to get involved, bring people around from all over, you of course can do that with as many people as you would like. And of course, I think Battle Towers might be a pretty good candidate for these 128 plus competitor tournaments that can be absolute blast. I mean, if you've never had the opportunity to compete in a play Pokemon tournament and get that sort of like large scale people all flying in to compete in this tournament, it is just a similar vibe in just getting all of these awesome people together and having a great time. And I definitely recommend attending as many in-person tournaments as you can throughout this season, especially now that, as we've said before, there isn't sort of the rank sacrifice that may have been present in other seasons, whereby competing in this smaller 3 or 4 round tournament, you're missing out on some rank gains that you could get from a 7-round tournament. So it really just, I think a lot of these changes this season are just preparing to bring us back to those in-person tournaments. And I'm really excited, Adellion. I mean, how about you?
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. I also like the one other sort of minor thing that was also changed and added to, and it comes as a result of the switching to a round-based measurement, having ranked rounds. Is you don't you know we're no longer restricted to using Swiss formats where you need a minimum of 8 players, or minimum of 8 players in order for it to be ranked. Round robins only require a minimum of 4 in order to be classed as ranked tournaments under the arena, but those 4 rounds will count towards your round tally. Now, it's for the smaller communities who do want to set up a little in person and get a couple of people perhaps down at the locals, social area, be it which obviously varies between country to country. It's much easier sell to say, you know what, folks, let's get 4 or 5 people down. Let's have a drink or two, have some food. Let's do a little tournament, and it ties in as well with the changes now with the collaboration between Niantic and the Silph Road to some extent on the communities map, with the talk about community ambassadors and all of that. Some of the requirements for communities to level up on the Silph Road's resources and the Silph Road's communities map involves hosting tournaments, and it's a much easier thing to do when you only need a minimum of 4 people. Of course, if we can get bigger, if we can smash that 128 number limit, then so be it for some of the huge cities or some of the locations for the safari zones or Go Fest, if there are tie-in communities that can help there. But it's nice to be able to help out these small communities host either in person or indeed remotely, and the bar is not that high for them. And that's what I love, and I think these changes are going to be brilliant for so many people. So this is the time, come January, for those of you who have never tried the arena's individual circuit before, to give it a shot and see what you think. Try it out. It's really, really fun. I have hosted many tournaments in the past, and I've enjoyed doing so. There's been some amazing players that I've got the privilege of meeting. For those of you who played prior to the pandemic, now's the time to get back into it and really start enjoying and go, you know what? I've missed this so much. I want to come back and try it out. Now's the time to do it. And really, we're going to build this community even further than what's going on already, which already is pretty awesome, I must say.
No, absolutely. I'm seriously so excited for all of that experience to come back and for everyone to jump back in and get involved. But with that said, we've obviously gone through a lot of changes today, and of course there are some more fine details. So we will link to those articles down in the description down below. Definitely recommend giving them a check out before we sort of kick off these waves. There's some more things, like for example, there is, in some very specific circumstances, tournament organizers can issue DefWins, which, if you're not familiar, I definitely recommend checking out the article. But again, these are really specific circumstances. So, especially for TOs out there, I recommend checking the updated rules guidelines, etc., which they'll all be linked down in the description down below. And just to sort of, I guess, summarize all of the big changes that were coming in with the ranked system with waves, we are moving from a monthly system with the number of ranked tournaments to a 2 monthly wave system with 40 ranked rounds that you can use across that full 2 month period. We'll still have a main Silph Arena Cup every single month, but there will be some factions crossover, which will give you more opportunity to sort of have to learn fewer metas, be able to sort of move a little bit easier between factions and the Silph Arena. And of course, with the introduction of some specific selected Go Battle League metas, as well as the classic Open Grey League, which as always can give some great practice for the Play Pokemon circuit as well. But with all of that said, if you've got any questions, please just, leave some comments down below or jump into the Silph Arena Discord. I'm there, always happy to answer questions, and there are plenty of other people around as well. Or, of course, just ask your local tournament organizer who may have some clues as well if you are sort of wanting to get involved, really interested. And, of course, the Silph Arena Discord, a great place to sort of see. There is a channel in there where people post their sort of tournament links, and, of course, the tournament map on silph.gg if you want to get involved. Just get your feet a little bit wet by jumping into a tournament as we start off in the January for the 2023 season. I mean, I'm pretty keen, Adelin. I'm pretty keen.
I'm pretty keen as well. So look forward to seeing amazing battlers make their mark on Silph Arena Season 5.